What's up? This is Hdnews Tech here. So I took the last 2 days off to actually do some cleaning, and I need to do still some in the kitchen and definitely the room. Definitely the room needs a little more. But I noticed that the mousetrap, I just bought this as well. This is a mousetrap that I already have in the kitchen. My parents bought. It's one of those where you can have a live or you can have a dead one. I'd rather have a live one and just let it loose and kill it some way. And there's one in there right now in the kitchen, and I had to move one of my air fresheners in there. I just replaced the batteries in a new freshener pump thing, new can of air freshener. And they don't have a lot of, for the brand I bought was Air Rick, I think. There wasn't a lot of those since I got the cinnamon, basically the apple cinnamon. So my room's got one of those special newer type that is not Bluetooth, but it's the ones with the liquid, and it kind of melts in the air, kind of makes some smoke, and then it smells better. And it usually lasts 45 days or more. And I had some other ones still in there, was still very full. I decided to get the pumpkin spice and replace the batteries as well on both of them. And for the other one, I got two of those and one for like $7. I thought, why am I spending $7 or $8 almost to get two and I only need one? And it'll probably come in handy down the road. The kitchen was smelling bad, and I was going through my clothes, and I noticed there was some kind of fish odor. There were some clothes that weren't washed for quite a while. Ever since I put that upper nice sheets, in the one part of my room where I won't get messed up or anything. They smelled, so I had to get the coat and all that cleaned up. It's in the dryer from yesterday, so smells better in the kitchen since I put that thing in there this morning. It's rats, and they're getting into the house since it's fall time, and I gotta do some cleaning. I don't want to really pick up their crap they lay, but that's what I'm smelling a lot of right now. And I will probably get that straightened out, because I'm not really a person who can handle mice. I was just not the kind of person. I'm not like a real man, but a man, but doesn't like mice or anything like that. That stinks. I'm more of a gamer and a tech person than anything right now. And I've been looking online for, I don't know if I ever will move out of this house, or eventually I'll get a girlfriend, hopefully. Because, I tell you one thing. If the hemophilia ever gets me one of these days, and I have one of those right near me, that'd be quite handy, but hopefully there's a cure before that. And at the moment, this COVID thing is kind of making it harder than it is even to do that. It would be harder. And yeah, I don't have one yet. Hopefully I get one of these days, and I can just start losing the weight and doing things I want to do. If that day does ever occur and I'm actually in a different location, you never know what the Lord has planned for you, and I just don't know at the moment. If I ever have a chance, and that does turn out to be one of my chances to be married to a lady, then I would probably do a video about Windows Vista, which was my high school computer. And I looked that one up. I think there's one. It's kind of a little expensive, it's like $60, but it's one of those old AMD dual cores. It only had like 2 cores in it, but for the time that's what it was. And you go up to 8 gigs of RAM. I remember my machine able to handle. And Vista was a really high-end system that was transparent windows, gadgets on the right side or the left side of the screen. I always kept mine on the right side with the thing not being there to see the gadgets on the side, just being translucent. and Windows 7 was a lot better, and then Vista was a lot of pain for developers, and most of the time I used that Vista machine when I first got it, it had a lot of crashes because of the Nvidia card built into it, onto the motherboard. And the developers weren't that good for like Nvidia or AMD to program a graphics driver or hardware, because it was completely different than XP. It took a really big rewrite to change the code, and they did a lot of Vista first been out in 2004 or so, but it was delayed, scrapped several times, and I was always told it was delayed for a good reason. And when it launched, it did have a lot of bugs. I had a lot of crashes with it, with the machine that only had 2 gigabytes of RAM at the time, of DR2, and that was like not very fast. And I can remember I could go up to 8, but I only went up to 4. And I eventually got it worked on, and decided to get rid of it because I had a newer machine I could deal with. And it was Windows 8, and I didn't like it whatsoever, because I had Windows 7 before that on the old machine. And Windows Vista was kind of awesome. It was the most horriblest launch of Windows I ever had. And that actually was one of the first machines I bought from Best Buy that was preloaded with Vista, the operating system. And it had a lot of bugs in it. It had a lot of slowdowns, a lot of RAM usage. A lot of devices and drivers from old hardware would not work on that machine and others, but they eventually got to the point of how they could develop and code it better when Windows 7 came around, and did a whole lot better job. If you think about installing it, I wouldn't, because there's no security updates, there's no driver support. You're basically on your own for having Windows Vista. And there is a community trying to extend the kernel so you can run newer programs. And that's kind of risky, because old hardware like that can only go up to 8 gigabytes of RAM, I believe. And that's just what the limitations are. And when you get to Windows 10, there's a whole lot bigger RAM. Of course, Windows 10 is a whole lot heavier on that hardware, of course. And of course, even if I put it on mine, it'd be slower than the OS I got. Because it's really bogged down like Vista was, but far worse because it's a big operating system. But Vista was the first turning point for transparent effects on the desktop for like Windows, where you open Media Player and it would have the translucent glass effect that ran on your GPU, by the way. And I had a Vita, and it ran fine. That's why I had most of the time with that computer. It eventually gave out, and I had to replace the video card with the Best Buy one. That was enough for Windows 7, and we had it basically installed on there. And then they ended support, it crashed several times. And if it's old, it's like under 2.4 gigs, so it was like 2.30 on speed, so it wasn't very fast. But it was enough to do some gaming, not a lot. But for Vista, what it was the most horrible OS compared to Windows Me, which I never used, and I think my dad used it maybe one time, but that was a horrible OS. That was far worse. But Windows Vista for the new tech was horrible. It was like it was a big step forward in the right direction, but also a lot of hardware vendors weren't ready at that time, and they didn't have a lot of developers to test software compatibility and hardware. And that's why Vista turned out so bad. And I still remember it's my favorite OS of all time. And I think now you can see copies on Amazon for like $150. Why would you pay that much? It's an old OS. It's like a 2006 OS. It's very old. It's ancient. And it has a lot of flaws in it. And I think those were the Search Pack 1. And then I don't know what the 2 was. But, it would take a lot. I've always been told you had to install Windows XP. Then you had to put Vista over to DVD, because it was a DVD-based installer. So, or you put Windows 2000 on your machine first, then install Windows Vista, and install your drivers and all that, and it would crash on a lot of people, including me. At first, there was a lot of program trouble, and Windows Defender at the first version of it wasn't that good, and I preferred like external, like, you know, Norton was alright for low spec hardware like that. For, you know, that kind of OS, it was heavy weight, you know, it had a lot of features in it that they didn't need full, but, you know, a lot of people didn't understand until later. But if you like this kind of content, thanks for watching, and subscribe as well so you never miss out on this kind of content. Thank you.